It's the Work for Avocados 1 year anniversary special. 1 year ago, I started this YouTube channel and I thought it would be really cool to sit down with you guys and react to the first video that I posted and kind of tell you my story on how it started and give you some advice on how you can go ahead and get started on your own. Before we get started on that though, I do want to show you something. Treated myself just a little bit. I got the zoom lens that I always wanted. I'm so excited because we can finally get some of those shots from the outside. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. I do videos every week. Be sure to hit the bell icon to get notified every... It's actually just a coffee mug. I know, my girlfriend didn't think it was very funny either. In all honesty, I'm broke as hell right now and I really can't even afford the coffee that's in this fake cup. But here we are. All right, so my very first YouTube video, originally I tried to start this channel as a travel channel based off of my experience of backpacking the world. And it's not unauthentic, but it's evolved into something much different than what this is. One more quick background note. This honestly took about 3 hours worth of recording. It's funny how many takes it would require me to do back then to do something like this. And now I just watch it and it's super cringe still. But anyway, for your enjoyment, this is the Work for Avocados episode number 1. I got a question for you. How many times
look at this random chair inside,
giving 8 hours of your day in order to enjoy 2 out of the 7 days of the week?
terrible lighting,
How many of those weeks
super bad
turn into
echo,
months, and then slip into years until you finally retire? And at that point, you're told you're able to enjoy life. While all this is going on, you're scrolling through your Instagram feed, watching
this overlay was like an edit that I did like a couple years ago from Nicaragua.
You're thinking, how do I get there? What do these people do that they're able to jet off to the far corners of the world at the drop of a dime? I hear excuses all the time on why people aren't
It's all
traveling.
Nicaragua.
I'm too broke. I'm too young. I'm too old. I have too many responsibilities. But the truth is, I've seen people from all walks of life overcome their
It's like so pretentious. It's like,
path of adventure.
yeah,
You create
you're
the
doing
blueprint
you,
that
but you should
fits
be
your
like
life.
me. Work
So
for
it's time to
avocados.
get off the couch and buy that plane ticket. Because the truth is, the perfect time
There is a
will
lot of
never
truth in what
happen.
I'm saying though.
So you might as well do it, because that moment of uncertainty is really where you're gonna
I
find
broke
yourself.
that board.
That's the beauty of traveling. Seeing amazing places, finding out who you are, making friendships that'll last a lifetime, possibly even meeting your soulmate along the way. My name is Michael Reed. Join me every Thursday on Work for Avocados. I'll share all my travel secrets, from getting you on the cheapest flights to being able to spend months in the places that you've always dreamed about. Leave a comment below about some places you have on your bucket list. I'd love to hear from you guys. And make sure you hit that subscribe and like button down below in order to stay tuned in to all of the latest. I'll be seeing you next Thursday, my friends. Nos vemos.
I mean, as you guys can see, that was about as low budget as it comes. There was this random avocado poster on the wall. I got my own avocado poster now, so bam. The lighting was terrible, the audio was horrible. There's really no confidence behind my voice. If you're interested in doing YouTube videos, the best thing that I can tell you is quantity over quality. In order to get to that point of being comfortable with what you're doing, those first 100 times on camera are gonna be very awkward. You're not gonna have the best equipment, but you're gonna learn how to do it as you go along. You really don't need much. I was using iMovie software for the longest time. If you're interested in being an action sports vlogger, you have an enormous benefit because you don't need a studio like this, you know? Our studio is the skate park. Our studio is the ocean. It's wherever you do your passion. And although it's nice to have something like this to be able to do recaps and product reviews and stuff like that,
you don't need it. Learn how lighting works, learn to work with the equipment of what you have, learn your editing software. There's so much that you can do with free software. Just work with what you have and be authentic about what you're doing. Working with the basic equipment inspires you to be more creative. By learning how your camera works, you're gonna be able to create better shots, you're gonna be able to create a better story, and yeah, better quality is nice, but you can have a 4K video that looks like garbage. Another thing I learned along the way is storyline is super important, no matter what you're doing. Even if you're doing something like tutorials, you're gonna have a beginning, you're gonna have a middle, and you're gonna have a conclusion. Great friend of mine, Julian, Green Wave Garage, major shout out to my friend Julian. I'm always sending him videos and he's giving me feedback. And he's like, dude, great edit, but you know, where's the storyline? Give a summary of the swell. Talk about the things that you liked about it. Talk about where you had struggles, where you had issues with it, because that's where people are able to relate to you. It's like when you watch a commercial. They're in a dope car tearing up through the mountains. You might have an interest in that product, but you don't know anything about that person. You don't know who they are. You don't have any reason to be invested in them. It's cool, but really, why should someone keep watching your content unless they're investing in you? Some people might disagree with that. Some people might be like, nah, I just want to see cool shit for 2 minutes. But that's personally not the way that I've found growth through my own endeavors. And there's a couple ways that you can go about that. The first way is, of course, just having the camera out and talking to the camera about what's going on while it's happening. You might not be super comfortable with that. I can tell you in the beginning that I definitely wasn't, and it's something that I'm still working on to this day. Or you can also film everything that's going on and you can do a voiceover afterwards. There's all sorts of different ways that you can go about it, and only you are going to be able to know what works for you. Throughout the way, I experimented with various different formats. Like I said, the first few videos were about traveling. From there, I did a couple hurricane edits. I experimented with some surf skate tutorials with my Carver board. I did interviews with a couple of people. Through trying all of these things and not worrying about what's gonna stick and worrying too much about what people thought about it, there was a lot of freedom with that. You could experiment with these different formats. You try a little bit of this, all right, people like this. You try a little bit of that, well, people love that, so let's do more of that. You'd really be surprised on who will respond to you if you just put yourself out there and explain what you're doing. I had the absolute honor of being able to interview Larry Bertelman, probably one of the most influential surfers of all time. Just message people on Instagram, just send them a DM, be like, hey, I'm doing this is what I do, I've been doing this for this amount of time, and I really think that you would be a great fit to talk about this topic because you're pretty much the master of it. And it just goes for anything in life. Until you just put yourself out there and ask, you never know what you'll get. The most important thing is getting your reps in. It's never gonna feel comfortable at first. Every time that you do it, it gets a little bit more comfortable, but there's always things that you're gonna wanna improve on. There's always gonna be things that you think you could be doing better. And there's always gonna be moments that you look back, no matter how good you are, 6 months after that part, and you're just like, oh God, what was I thinking with that shot? Like, just cringe stuff. I cannot stress enough how important thumbnails and titles are. Because you could have the most awesome video in the world, but if your thumbnail and title aren't good, no one's gonna click on it. The last bit of advice that I have for you regarding that is to find your own niche. You might be a stand-up paddleboarder. All right, well, I'm gonna do wakeboarding videos. I'm gonna do BMX videos. Whatever you do, make it your own thing, and the more specific you get with it, your net's not gonna be as large, but what is captured within that smaller net is a much more gratifying audience, and you're able to build a much more intimate connection with the people who watch your videos. I knew there were so many travel bloggers out there that really nothing I was doing was standing out. And while I had an awesome experience backpacking, my real passion is surfing and skating. I come from a small place in Northeast Florida called St. Augustine.
It's an amazing place. We have this awesome downtown area with this super old giant fort on the bayfront, beautiful beaches. We've got one of the best skate parks in the state. What we don't have that's amazing is we don't have the best waves here. Jacksonville is always better, Daytona's better, the winds are just better up there, the sandbars seem to be better, but we're just as stoked to get out there all the same. You know, if it's 1 to 2 feet, we got the longboard out there. If it's 2 foot plus, then we're bringing the fish out there. If a hurricane comes through and there's that very brief window where it goes offshore and it's like 4 to 5, it gets super fun, but it seems anything past 5 feet, it kind of just closes out because our sandbars can't handle it. That is where Stoked on the Small Stuff came to be. If you want to do that kind of activity in a place like St. Augustine, you gotta go with a good attitude. It's not a proving ground. Everyone's just out there to have fun. It's a super friendly environment, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I would like things in addition to it, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. My first super proud moment of all of this was when I did the video with Ben Gravy. If you guys don't know who Ben Gravy is, he is the first person to surf all 50 states. Ben Gravy came to St. Augustine one day and I called out of work and I made sure that I was there to go and surf with him. Ben is a great surfer, but what's really cool about what he's done is he's become a professional surfer without having to compete. Through his story and through his adventures is how he makes a living. He doesn't have to worry about competing on the world tour. He doesn't have to beat John Florence. He doesn't have to beat Gabriel Medina. He does his own thing and he did it in his own way. And that was just super inspiring to me because I think that I'm an all right to somewhat decent surfer, if we're being honest. But no one's watching my channel because they think I'm an amazing surfer. I will probably never be at that level, but I'm okay with it because I would still be doing all these things even without any of these cameras, without these posters. I would still be out there stoking on a 2 foot wave. And if I can share my story that way through a vessel like surfing and skateboarding, then I'm all about it. So what's the future of WorkForAvocados? What I would love to get out of this channel, a couple years ago, I bought some land in Nicaragua and I've been working in the restaurant industry to slowly be able to build a small house down there. I want to have a little skate bowl. I'm 2 blocks from the beach and I want to be able to live and enjoy my life down there and do what I love to do with the people that I love. It'll only happen through consistent work, which I'm very guilty sometimes of letting a week or 2 lapse by in the past year. So definitely keep a consistent schedule. Pick a day of the week that works for you, that you know that you're gonna stick to. It could be Tuesday at 8 a.m. It could be Friday at 6 p.m. But whatever you do, stick with it and that will help you build your audience. Be comfortable with being uncomfortable and be consistent about it. This is Michael with WorkForAvocados. I will see you guys next week. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and hit the bell icon to get notified every time new Stoke drops. I'll see you guys later. Thanks so much.